Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and it's great that you could stop by for today's video. Now, any regular viewer of this channel will know that I have a lot of Power Macs. I particularly have a lot of Power Mac G4s, but there is one in particular that I have never been able to find. And they're really quite rare. I'm talking about the Power Mac G4 PCI graphics, aka the Yikes. The least powerful G4 Apple ever released. And the story about it was that Apple wanted to use up logic boards for the G3 blue and white. They weren't going to be able to sell the blue and whites anymore because the G4s were so much more powerful than the G3s. So they just put the G4 processor onto the blue and white logic board. Like most stories, though, I think that's pretty much what it is. It's just a story. There may have been some of that using up, the materials that they had, but more likely is the theory that Apple realized they were not going to be able to deliver the sawtooth logic boards in sufficient quantities to meet the anticipated demand. So as a backup plan, they came up with the Yikes, which would be a G4, but without a lot of the amenities that the sawtooth brought. I found one finally on eBay. I've been looking for a long time. They don't come up very often. And the reason for that, they were only out for 3 months. They started selling them in basically the fourth quarter of 1999, and that was it. They weren't very popular, so they didn't sell a lot of them, which makes them very, very hard to find, but it's a hole in my personal collection. And I'm excited. Let's take a look at it. Stay tuned. From the outside, it could be a sawtooth, a gigabit Ethernet, even a digital audio. All of them had this case. By the way, I always thought it was interesting. The code name for this design of case was El Capitan, well before anybody ever thought of the operating system. All right, let's open it up. Okay. How many of you out there realized immediately that this is not a Yikes? That's an AGP graphics slot. And you may not be able to see this that well, but over here, an internal FireWire 400 port. The only machine that came with a built-in internal FireWire port is a sawtooth. Now, what's jumping out at me, though, this has a processor upgrade. That's no stock sawtooth came with a fan on the processor heatsink. Well, this could be a very different kind of video, couldn't it? Looks like Rage 128, and there's a kind of damaged PCI card here, Ethernet card of some kind. Two missing slot covers, but thankfully the screws are still there. That's a good thing. And there is no hard drive in there. Optical drive is there, but there is no zip drive. They didn't come with zip standard. Okay, But being that it's a sawtooth, it should boot from FireWire. The Yikes couldn't boot from FireWire, much as the blue and whites can't boot from FireWire. So we can at least boot it up and figure out what this thing is. I'm curious. Stay tuned. Well, I've got kind of a makeshift arrangement here. I had to pull out another monitor. The Rage 128 just doesn't quite have enough juice to drive the Apple Cinema display even with the adapter. So, lights on and a chime. I've got the option key held down. Okay. Oh, it's just booting into OS 9. Yeah, sawtooths can be touchy about the boot manager. You can get into it through open firmware. Command-Alt-OF on startup will get you there, and then you can use the multi-boot command in open firmware. Tell you what. It's because I think that's funny. It's not showing up the partitions. Oh, there they go. Just a little delay. Alright, let's try that again. Control panels. Startup disk. Now we see it. Okay, we're going to restart it at Tiger. The sawtooth would originally have come with OS. Actually, I think the first sawtooths came with OS 8. 8.5? I'll have to look that up and make sure. By the way, speaking of looking up, I did look at the original advertisement for this. The seller just had no idea what the machine was. His description said PCI graphics based on the Yikes architecture. He just copied it straight out of everymac.com. He had no idea what the machine was. All right, but here we are. We are booted up. What about this Mac? $1.2 gigahertz PowerPC G4. Wow. Yeah, I would say that's an upgrade. Oh, man. Yeah, because the sawtooths came originally with a 450 megahertz G4. It got bumped down to 400 and then bumped back up. All right. Well, let's look at more info. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, confirming that here. 1.2 gigahertz. Wow. Graphics and displays. Yeah, ATI Rage 128 Pro had to be. I didn't mean to click on that. Look at PCI cards. Yeah, Ethernet controller. I don't really know why there's built-in Ethernet on this. I wonder if it's working. Let's try starting up 10.4 Fox. you know. Since this FireWire drive, I'll open things on a variety of machines. The windows can be messed up. Well, let's try. I always do that. Just go to Google. Yeah, we got internet, so I'm plugged into the built-in port. Maybe that's a gigabit Ethernet card. It's kind of beat up. This machine merits some exploration. What else can we look at? Memory? Yeah. All right. So yeah, the thing of main interest is that processor upgrade, 1.2 gigahertz. Now, I'll take a closer look at it. Open the machine up again, see if there's any indication of. I mean, is that a Sonnet upgrade? It may be. I really don't know, but it is clearly an upgrade. Well, that brings some thoughts here. What to do with this machine? Now, I've got the world's most powerful sawtooth, of course, but I have another non-working sawtooth that I use for parts, and it's got a couple of hard drives in there. I've never taken them out. I've never seen exactly what's on them, but we could pop those in here, see if there's an OS on it. Of course, we can, we can put in the SSDs with adapters and that whole thing too. But that's one thing to look at. Clearly, better video card, definitely, because I've got plenty of things better than Rage 128s lying around. What else can we do? You know what might be interesting? Seeing if I can get FireWire 800 working on this machine. Just to verify, is the problem I'm having with the world's most powerful sawtooth related to that machine somehow, or is that a problem that sawtooths have? I really don't know. I've never seen anything to indicate that it would be a problem. So yeah, those are definitely things to do with this. But yeah, it's interesting, that processor upgrade. The funny thing is, of course, the description was saying 400 megahertz G4 as though it were a yikes. If it had been identified correctly as a sawtooth, I wouldn't have looked twice at it. But yeah, I paid $75 for it. I'm thinking, I don't know what I could sell that upgrade card for, but a little bit of work. This machine, it's just plain interesting, and that, of course, is why I do it. Well, so we're going to have more to come on this machine, of course. We've got a whole bunch of other things coming up too, G4, G5. I don't have anything in the works back with G3s, but you never know what may turn up. But anyhow, be good to other people. Other people need it and deserve it. Be good to yourselves. We can make this world a better place. You want to be in the best position to enjoy that. It's not a better place, so please take very, very good and careful care in these difficult times. Like I said, we have a lot of other, one more video at least on this machine, and I got a lot of G5 things in the works here. So until those things come along, this has been Broken Electronics.